Good morning. It's Friday, August 4th. And typically when you're running for an office, a political office, you have opponents. And it's not normal for people to praise their opponents. And it's not normal if your opponent is indicted for basically trying to overthrow the government. And it's not normal to stand by him instead of distancing yourself from him, which might seem to be like a no-brainer. But I'll tell you the people who have no brains in this situation, it's Nikki Haley and Tim Scott, because they continue to defend Trump. They overlook the evil that the man has committed in the United States. And maybe they're doing that because they don't want to upset the rest of the Republican base. People who they expect to vote for them instead of voting for Trump if Trump ends up in jail or something. Because they're certainly not going to beat Trump in the primary arena. He's too far ahead of these two clowns. So what do? They accept everything that Trump has done and still look up to the man, whether or not they believe that, but they look up to him publicly. This is a disgrace. Step up to the plate and tell the truth. Tell the truth about this indictment, about his actions on January 6th, when he sat by the TV and watched the riot and was begged by his compatriots, begged by the Speaker of the House and other high-ranking officials to step up and tell the crowd to go home. But he didn't do that. He ignored them. He cheered the rioters on. And this is a man that Tim Scott and Nikki Haley refused to stray from Donald Trump despite his legal problems, despite the fact that he was indicted again for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. And really, when you look at how they defend him, when Scott talks about Hunter Biden with respect to Donald Trump, Hunter Biden is known to be a criminal, and it's an unfortunate thing that he's Joe Biden's son. But he's had all kinds of problems in his life, and so maybe we should excuse him for the fact that he lost a brother and a sister, and he was a drug addict, and all of those things have affected his life. But there's no reason to use Hunter Biden in defense of Donald Trump. Hunter Biden is going to be punished. Hunter Biden is in court. Hunter Biden had a judge who rejected his deal. So don't bring Hunter Biden in. This is a typical ploy, like we're bringing Hillary Clinton back. Those things are immaterial. You killed somebody, but don't stand there and say, what about this guy who shot 2 people? What about this guy who killed 4 people? This whataboutism isn't a defense for Donald Trump. It just makes those who defend him in that manner look like assholes. So we have 2 of those people defending him right now, Haley and Scott. And why should they bother defending him? They're so far down in the polls. They haven't got a chance to win the election. But maybe they're praying that Donald Trump doesn't end up in jail and he runs for president and he chooses one of them to be his vice president. So Nikki Haley, who did a good job as the ambassador, as the UN ambassador, I think she did a good job. But her vision has been clouded since then. And she hasn't renounced the man who was once her boss. And she has said other things that make me doubt her value as a president. She has misconstrued her life to the fact that she thinks she's overcome a lot of evil in her life being a minority governor. And she claims that the country is in better shape than it was. And that's why she, as a minority governor, was able to win that election. But that's not true. This country hasn't changed enough. This country is still leaning white and struggling to keep that image in place. So I don't know if Nikki Haley is worth the time and effort I'm spending on her. And I don't know if Tim Scott is worth the time and effort I'm spending on them. They certainly don't belong on the stage trying to become the president. And really, in reality, maybe they're just trying to become the vice president. But when you look at Trump, he deserves a trial. He doesn't have to be a criminal to deserve criticism. He deserves all the criticism that anybody can want to heap on him. He lied about the stolen elections. He was caught on the phone trying to steal votes in Georgia. Even before he was indicted, he could have been denounced. And he should have been denounced. Anybody who had any morals should have been denouncing him. He disgraced the presidency. And for that alone, he doesn't deserve to get another chance. But that just shows you the shape of this country, and it shows you that the leaders of this country on the Republican side are afraid of him. They're afraid of the millions who will vote for him. And so we have two of the primaries contestants who are standing up for Trump in the belief that that will help them get out of this distant 3% group. But it won't work. It won't work. They have to attempt to make the GOP voters move on from Trump. But Scott and Haley have proved themselves to be spineless. And I predict that their campaigning, their primary life will be short-lived. Even though they have managed to raise millions of dollars, they have put themselves in an impossible political position. And they deserve very little sympathy. So I leave you with that this morning. Two of the primary participants standing up for a man who doesn't deserve it. Have a great day. I'll see you in the morning. Bye.